What's up? Welcome to Walkin 90. This is your quick hits for the week. If you have not seen the news already, we're getting Pro Rel, baby. And to talk with me about Pro Rel in the United States for USL, I bought three special guests with me. Please introduce yourself, Devin. Let's start with you.
Going on, world? It's Devin the Dude here, aka Dev the Gooner, or you may know me professionally as Devin Pugh. Here to talk about this amazing news that just dropped. I represent a USL organization, so I'm happy to be here.
Donald, tell us where you're from, my guy.
Donald One. I'm here in Washington D.C., but I'm a native Detroiter and I guess a co-owner of Detroit City FC.
And last but certainly not least, Rob. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm Rob. I'm a host and producer of Talkin' Flock, your full Mingo podcast here in Madison, Wisconsin.
So I'm Ebony. I'm obviously with NCFC here in Raleigh for the championship. But we were in League One for a little bit. So first, let's just get some honest reactions because this was something that they had spoke about before. They voted on the opportunity to vote for Pro Rel. They agreed to vote on yes or no for Pro Rel. Sure. But now we have a definitive, we're going D1, we're going Pro Rel. What are your initial thoughts?
It's happening. It's happening. Finally, we've been talking about it for how long, but it's happening. I think it's exciting. I think it's going to be the fundamental thing is USL. MLS has been encroaching on USL and has seen USL as a threat. Maybe, I don't know. They've been coming in our cities. They got Austin. They got San Diego. They're trying to get Indianapolis, and USL just has to do something to differentiate. And this is it. And it's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't think for like a Madison fan, I don't think all of a sudden we're gonna get a whole bunch of money just because we're playing against Loudoun and Pittsburgh instead of Greenville and Chattanooga. I don't. Most of our fans are pretty casual, kind of don't know the difference anyway. But it's going to create tons of excitement, depending how they do the Division One and the way the pyramid looks. It could become regionalized. There's just all sorts of different ways you could do it that will create excitement all season long, not just at the top of the table. I think that's the key.
And Donald, Devin, what you thinking?
For me, yeah, everyone wants Pro Rel, right? Except when it's their team that's getting relegated. That's the long and short of it, right? But I also think they are introducing the buzzwords without the meat. We don't know how this is going to work. Yeah, right. We just know they're going to have it. We don't know how it's going to work. And USL has always had the issue of just giving you the buzzwords and then later on finding out that they don't really have the buns for the hot dogs at the store. And so what they need is to figure out, because Ebony, you said it yourself, right? NCSC is a great example. They were in the championship, they dropped down in League One, then they went back up to the championship. None of that was sporting related, even though you did win League One on your way out. But it was all financially related. And USL, meanwhile, like if you think about it, you have 24 teams in the championship. They have 9 expansion teams coming in, and OKC is still on hiatus, and they're still expected to come back. You have USL League One, who is now up to 14 teams. They have 7 expansion teams in the pipeline, with more coming. They need to stabilize that part. And by stability, I don't mean the league. I mean, they need to figure out what these tiers are going to have. Yeah. So once that happens, I don't know if they get that by 2028. That's the question here, because now they've put a timer on how they're going to do this and when they're going to do it.
Yeah, me personally, I'm excited about it. Here I am, a member of Annapolis Blues FC. We just got promoted into the USL League 2 for this upcoming season. We haven't even kicked the ball yet in USL 2, but I'm happy to be here. I think this bodes well for us. There's a lot of potential for us here in this league already. In our previous league in the NPSL, we did finish as the #1 team in the country already, right? So there's potential for us to continue to grow on this and to take advantage of it. So I'm excited. I'm happy. Cheers. We're drinking to a new era.
Donald, you mentioned it. Like, there's already 24 teams in championship. There's so many expansion teams coming to League One. How do you form a new D1 with the teams you already have and the teams that are on their way? Like, I know on Walkin 90, we kind of touched on it a little bit. We kind of like broke down the chart, seeing where like teams could move, the new markets that could pop up. But personally, for your teams, like the Mingos, Detroit, and Annapolis, where do you see your team landing in this new pyramid to start it for 2028?
I mean, I think for Detroit City, the aim, it kind of ties in well. They're building a new stadium. It's going to be 14 to 15,000 seats. It's opening in 2027. So I'm sure they are one of the prime candidates to move up to this premier division that starts then. Also, you have the fact that, Detroit's one of the biggest cities that does not have Division One soccer in the country. So that is a prime example of a team that could do it. Now, could a League One team like in North Carolina, who's in a big market? Madison's not in as big a market, but a solid, stable team. Like, do they make the jump? I don't know that answer to that question, but I don't think you're looking at many of those teams making the jump all the way up to Premier. So the question is, do they go up to the championship? And for some of these teams, the question is, are they going to do this before they're ready? That's the real fear here with some of the fan bases probably today, is that they're like, yeah, it sounds great, but like, guys, we can't pay money for the buses for our teams, right? We can't pay for tickets for our supporters for away trips. Those little things that are going to become expected when they're in the top division.
Yeah, no, speaking on our team, like I said, it's brand new. So like the opportunities are endless for us at this point now. Like we were so, I don't want to say happy. We're happy to be here, of course, but there's so much potential to us that, who's to say? We already kind of have the facilities to handle a new, such a big opportunity. We have a 22,000 capacity stadium, like I said, we already have, 12,000 fans a game, already as it is. So it's good to see that there's something for us to, continue to shoot for, instead of, obviously with how MLS is, how the majority of the leagues are here in America. It's pretty much just the same thing every single season, no matter how you do. Now there's something for us to work towards, obviously to build and have an opportunity to continue to grow with, in the next few years. So we're happy, like I said, happy to be here this year, happy to kick a ball in the USL. And now we can just continue to build on it, continue to grow on it, and looking forward to seeing it. I think there's a good opportunity for us to, jump a few levels here. So,
as far as Madison's concerned, our ownership group has said we're happy in Division 3. We're not going anywhere until we can do it on the field. So, I mean, I think we're very excited about the opportunity to earn promotion, but wherever the pyramid lands, we're going to be in the third tier of the pyramid when in 2028. Our stadium only holds 5,000 people. It's 100 years old. It's a beautiful stadium. It's downtown, and they're right now working with the city, which owns the stadium, to expand it up to like 8,000 for the Super League team that is allegedly coming eventually, which is Division I women. We're gonna have to expand the stadium. That's still not 15,000, right? That's still not quite D1. So I think there's a possibility that I think Milwaukee, if that ever happens, is much more a better candidate for premiership. But who knows in 2032, 2033, if Madison wants to spend some money and put together a roster that can make a run to get promoted all the way to the top. Who knows?
I was going to say for the case of the Annapolis Blues specifically, I think they're poised to really take advantage of this, however they lie in it, because they have a lot of people in their front office who started the team who have MLS experience in running big clubs, namely a lot of people from DC United that have come over and done that. Devin himself has Division I experience on the women's level. So, you have that infrastructure for the team already in place, so they know how to ramp up if they needed to.
Right.
Now, Devin will tell you that that's not the case for every team in his division, or at least he'll soon learn that not every team is going to be in that position. So I think that's what the USL has to figure out over the next 4 years, is how to create stability within each club so that we don't see a lot of teams drop off before this happens because they're like, hey, I don't want anything to do with this because we just don't have the funds to compete.
A great
And
point.
and you mentioned like MLS a couple times in this little chat. What does this do to MLS? Like, they've got to be shaking right now because they always wanted to be the first, but they never wanted to actually grow the game like they said. And if you listen to an interview that Don Garber recently did talking about the World Cup coming, he said that we're not ready. And everyone kind of looked around like, that's your fault. Like, you did like, you monopolized soccer in this country and then made it so that it wasn't accessible to everyone, and now no fan is truly ready because they're not going to be prepared. The country's not prepared and the fans aren't. So what does this do to MLS on the terms of just like soccer fandom in the country?
I think it makes them really regret their TV deal. I think the money is in television, right? Sports is a TV show. And I think hiding behind the Apple Plus paywall will prove to be a mistake. And because, we've been, and I've been wondering about this for the last year or two, that the CBS just kind of like, we're leaning into CBS as a league. And I think CBS has it. I think they must have been talking for the past couple of years. Like USL is going to be very big in like 5 years. And CBS believes that. So our games, USL games, are going to be on CBS on Saturday afternoons on like network antenna TV, as well as Golazo, as well as everywhere else, as well as probably some on ESPN as well. And that is going to be where the money is. That's going to be where the fandom is. And that's going to be, if it's not on TV, it doesn't happen. If it's hidden on Apple TV, it's only happening for some small number of people. And I think MLS will realize that they kind of made a mistake hiding in that streaming service.
I think you're right in the terms of the eyeballs, right? Like moving MLS from ESPN Plus and Fox and a big ESPN to a paywall streaming service has decreased the opportunity and the access for people. Unfortunately, has not decreased the money. They're getting $2.5 billion over 10 years for that. Now, how long does that go once Messi leaves? That's their question. That's the bet that they have to make up, right? But USL right now is not getting $2.5 billion to be on CBS or ESPN. They need to figure it, and I don't see that happening just because of Pro Rel. So I think it remains to be seen how much investment comes in and how quickly, really, right? Like it's more about if you get a lot of upfront investment, that people go, okay, this is something worth paying attention to. But if the money's not there when the league starts, then you have the question of, okay, now you have to build it through the organic support of the fans. And I'm telling you, some of these Pro Rel people online who are very loud are not going to games. And just because USL did it, they are still not going to be going to games. So they're still going to be talking about, moving the goalposts about how much more USL has to do to be perfect, to be the EPL, which no one can be, because the EPL got a 120-year head start. So I remain skeptical in that part of it. I do see the potential for it, though, and I do see that there may be some more investment. And I think just more importantly, the independence of teams to be able to grow things their way. That's what it's about, and understanding what your market is and tapping into that the way that you need to, as opposed to having a across the board type of template that you try to apply.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think they're setting the foundation essentially to get this money. And is MLS, should they be immediately worried about it? I don't think so right now. Like you said, they are still getting a ton of money, even though it is behind a paywall. But the foundation has certainly been set, right? The first shot has been rang in this sense from a competition standpoint. So would I say they're worried about it right now? But they're definitely looking like, oh, what's going on over here? And if they play their cards right in the USL, they can shake the table in a tremendous standpoint from like the monopoly that MLS has had in this country. And it really, most importantly, right, this is all about the players, right, and giving the players the best opportunity to play at the highest level. And of course, as we see overseas in every other country, these are opportunities for players that probably wouldn't get a chance any other way, right? Obviously, we know the money that is involved to play at a top level here in America. That's not necessarily the case in building your, academies up and so on and so forth in every other country. So this is a great opportunity to find those diamonds in the rough that may actually draw attention away from MLS that they probably wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise. So it's definitely something to put on notice. And I think, like I said, they've laid the groundwork for it, and we'll see what they do with it.
One final thing that USL has to overcome is the stigma that they are a minor league league.
Yeah.
Right. Like we see that a little bit right now. And I know it's unfair to kind of put that on the USL Super League because it's their first year, but you see MWSL teams loaning their players that aren't making the cut to Super League teams to try and get them more opportunities to play. Now, USL has to figure out a way to make it where they go, hey, we are on the same level. That is only going to come through competitions like the US Open Cup, maybe friendlies, things like that, where they have that direct competition. But the hope is that one day you have, in Dallas, you have FC Dallas, but in Fort Worth, you have a USL team that can, have that crosstown rivalry whenever they play. Same in some of these other cities that, Milwaukee versus Chicago, those type of regional battles that may have different cities and different leagues, but you have that competition and you see the organic rivalries build.
I wonder who's going to be the Messi, the Zlatan, the Landon Donovan, who will go to a USL Division I team and really make that splash at some point in the next 5, in 2028, 29, 30. Somebody's going to have to write a big fat check to somebody who's been playing in the Premier League.
Oh, in the Premier League. I was about to say it's Jake Keegan, but never, he said Premier League.
He might be out of USL by 2028. That's just cross our fingers there. But I think it's gonna. When you talk about talent, you're talking about like attention. Like it's
Rashford.
It's gonna take a star. There's gonna be a star. Yeah, Rashford.
Let's go.
Somebody's got to sign a star in that first year or the first couple years of D1, USL D1. I think to maybe get some eyeballs, and we'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. This was such a very good conversation. I'm so excited for Pro Rel to happen here. Grego finally got here as we were ending. Crazy. So crazy. Here he is.
I can't talk my shit.
We have another pod for that coming up where you can actually do that. Don't talk your shit.
You know what? I just might do that.
You should. Please, everyone on this panel, including you, Grego, drop your @, drop what you're working on, your projects. Please, we want to make sure that people can find you and celebrate the good work that you're doing for League One, Championship, Super League, W League, whatever league you're covering. So please drop your @.
Yeah, I'll start it off. Please find me on the Blue Sky, Devin Pugh at all the Blue Sky stuff. _ Devin Pugh on Elon's account. I'm not as active there, but I do promote a lot of blue stuff there. We do kick our first ball in the USL League 2 May 31st against the Richmond Ivy and Christos FC, both USL teams for the men and the Richmond Ivy for the women. So very excited about that. And always, you can always see me on FTC UTD as well, but we'll cover that in just a sec too.
For me, at Blazing DW on Blue Sky and Instagram, and you'll find me over at Stars and Stripes FC. I cover the U.S. national teams. I'm writing at the District Press, covering DC Power FC and DC United. I'm all over the podcast unit. I got 4 podcasts, one with Ebony and F1. So vroom vroom.
I'm at Talkin' Flock, no G, Talkin' Flock on Blue Sky and Instagram, and talkinflock.substack.com for the newsletter.
You can find me on Blue Sky at ftcutd.com. You can also find me at FTC Grego, We're still on the Bird Box at FTCUTD, just not nearly as active because Broso is still super slow to move on over to the Blue Skies. FTCUTD Pod on IG and TikTok. Right now, we are working on name sets all day long. Like, I haven't even had time to even properly put the stuff on IG like I really should. But trust me, the heat is real. The heat is so real.
It's nice. If you haven't seen the little snippets of what he has posted, it's nice. So I can't wait to get my custom one made for the New Jersey I'm about to purchase. It's about to hurt my heart because it's $180, but still.
And just to go ahead and put it out because like we haven't recorded in a while because again life has been life and we've been super busy. But I trust me, with this happening tonight, trust and believe the podcast light will be on this week. We got a little bit to talk about.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this Quick Hits with Walkin 90. I'm Ebony, for Yogi, for Kyle, for Chip. Appreciate you. Please like, rate, and subscribe. Follow us at Walkin 90 Pod on Blue Sky and on YouTube at Walkin 90. We're trying to get to 150 subs on YouTube, so please subscribe if you feel so inclined. We'll holler at you later. Peace.